Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna give folks just a minute to go ahead and jump in, and then we will get started. All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. We'll jump right into introductions. My name is Stephanie, and I lead marketing here at First Arriving. Joining me today is Dave, who's our founder and leads our product team, and Bill from our professional services team, who works with our customers directly every day. Hmm. A couple of quick logistics before we get started. We'll hopefully keep this session to under an hour, including time for Q&A. Throughout the session, feel free to drop any questions you may have into the Q&A panel. We'll address as many as we can live, and follow up with any afterward on anything we don't get to. You'll also receive a copy of today's presentation. Gonna go ahead and jump into our agenda. I want to just start with saying thank you. We truly appreciate your partnership and the feedback that you continue to share with our team. A lot of what we'll cover today is directly shaped by what we're hearing from departments like yours. Today's session is designed to be practical and focused. We're going to walk through what's new across the platform, what we're prioritizing next, and most importantly, how you can continue to get value from what you already have in place today. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dave to walk through what we've been building and where the platform stands today.
Yeah, all right. There's a couple people who said they don't have audio, but it looks like that cleared up. So hopefully we're good there. Feel free to do in the chat if you have any kind of sound issues or whatever, but looks like everybody's pretty squared away. So our goal here is to talk about where we're going as a platform. We've started as a digital signage company where that we acquired in 2018 that was big screens in fire stations, police stations, etc., some local government. And our goal is to how can we expand that to be a partner with you in every possible way to distribute information to your personnel. So we're already bringing together your systems. We're making the information visible everywhere you are. We're expanding into desktop, tablet, and the mobile access. And how can we keep your team informed, aligned everywhere they are, not just on the big screen, but on desktop, tablet, and mobile as well. We're going to start with new integrations. We've got quite a few new integrations that have come up in the last 3 to 6 months. Schedule to it, Echo Data Analytics, Firehouse 24/7, which is a scheduling platform, and Essential Personnel have all launched in the last 2 months. We're going to talk about integrations in a little bit, but these are the four that have launched in the last 3 or 4 months. Go ahead, Stephanie. And then we're working on some big ones. So ESO, we've just completed for a good chunk of customers a new integration with ESO's Nearest new API, which is replacing the prior NIFRS API for our fire department clients. That was a significant effort to rebuild what we had there. We're just starting to roll that out to customers this week. And over the next 2 or 3 weeks, all the existing customers will get upgraded automatically. Emergency networking is big RMS provider that we're doing a full integration with their entire suite that will roll out in the second quarter. We're beginning to explore and probably will initiate an integration with Nearest itself to get your data that you're seeing in Nearest to your dashboards, to your user accounts, etc., sometime in the second and third quarter. And then First2, we have quite a bit of integrations with, as most of you know, but we are looking at custom reports and some other exports from First2 that we can use to enhance your dashboards and user accounts. Integrations. So we just talked about the new integrations and the ones we're enhancing, but it's really important for you guys to check our website regularly to see what integrations we have that maybe you haven't thought about adding, or what ones we don't have that you think maybe we should add. So we have an integrations page on the website. It's great. It provides all information on every integration we have. And if you check that along with email notifications that we're going to start getting more aggressive with, to let you know as we add new integrations, as we change integrations, we're going to be communicating with you far more aggressively than we were in the past. So really, we're trying to be proactive and let you know when we have cool new stuff to add to your board. And certainly, as your agency adds new technologies to your uh, ecosystem, drop us a line in support, ask us if we can integrate with it, tell us how you'd want us to integrate it with it and what information you would want to see in your platform, and we can go from there. Maximizing your dashboard. So that goes right in line with adding all the integrations you possibly can think of. This is Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, which, as you can see from the menu on the left-hand side, has an incredible number of integrations. This is a chief level view. So I wanted to share this to show you that you can customize your views if you're not already doing it to have a chief level dashboard, a battalion chief level dashboard that they can access either on the big screen or on desktop and tablet and mobile to really dial in. So everyone has boards for their specific locations, station, office locations, etc. But we really are trying to start to dive in of how can we disseminate information directly to line officers, station officers, battalion chiefs, deputies, police officers who are on the street. How do we disseminate that information more aggressively, and how do we customize what you see so that you get the view and the information that matters to you, not just what the station may see on the big screen. So as you can see here, this is a chief level view where they can basically see everything. And then when you drill down into an individual station, they may only have 5 or 6 menu items to browse through that is specific to that station. So this is a good example of really maximizing the power of what we can provide you with. We're ingesting all these data platforms and information platforms. We're giving you tools which we were only going to expand upon in the future to manage the content on your dashboards. So I'll go to the next slide, Steph. So I'll just leave this up there. How can we be a single truth for your department, all the way down to your individual firefighter, police officer, office member, whatever the case is, right? How can we be that single source of truth? So, you've got these 10 platforms. All your people are not logging into all those platforms every day. They're ignoring your emails. They're ignoring what's on the dry erase board or in a logbook, or they were kind of zoned out on their phone during a meeting. How can we give you the tools to say, hey, go to first arriving, whether it's the big TV or it's on your computer, on your phone, whatever, go there X times a day, once a week, whatever the case is. And this is the information you need to do your job today. User accounts. So user accounts, think of user accounts as um, giving access to your information to all your personnel. And that could be just your officers. That could just be your supervisors on the street. That could be all the way down to every firefighter, police officer, and administrative person that you have within your organization. So certainly it's a mobile first platform that lets you view all the information except for incident alerting that's on your dashboard, that's on your big screen. So we have formatted all of that data to be seen on your phone. So it's really a great way that's going to only expand over time. One thing we're going to do in the next several months is we're launching a user group to get more user feedback aggressively. So you can tell us, hey, this is my internal communications strategy. Here's ways you can help me execute on that. And here's ways that we can help you identify gaps in your communication to further that mission. So user groups are going to be a big thing. Next week, we're visiting about a dozen customers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're doing one-on-one meetings with them. We're doing group meetings with them to really, really get aggressive with talking to our clients and understanding how do we go beyond just being your big screen TV in the station. How do we become part of your communications strategy overall? So in addition to being able to access your dashboard content, there's also other content within the user accounts for announcements and documents. And you can go to the next slide, Steph. Um, Other tools. So again, this kind of goes to what I just said about, the ignored email chains and external tools and things like that. So content from user accounts. This is the desktop view you're looking at right now. You can launch your full scale dashboard either on your phone or on your desktop. When they launch it on the desktop or tablet, it looks exactly like it looks like on your big TV, which is great. And then there's also a slate of other tools that will work around that really is in the early stages of where this thing can go, especially when we start talking about AI, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, post updates, you can push those updates through to your dashboards. You can deliver it via email for certain required acknowledgments and so forth like that. If you want to go to the next slide, Steph. So we're expanding the tools that are available. So if you see the menu on the left-hand side, you've got all your dashboard content that a user can view, but you've also got news and announcements, which is a new feature where you don't need to use Google Sheets anymore for news and announcements. You can use this tool to push content from your user accounts to your dashboards. That includes an image. You can manage events if you're not otherwise pulling in a Google Calendar or some other sort of thing like that. We've got a base document library, so it gives your team quick access to your key SOPs and things like that. We've got key agency links, so you can load up the platform with all your other platforms. So instead of Joe Smith coming in and be like, "Hey, where do I log into my learning management system? I lost the URL." It's all in one consolidated place, right? It cuts down. Our goal is to cut down on the noise and cut down on like nonsense communication almost, right? Like how do you eliminate all the extraneous conversations that are happening where people are trying to find things and they don't know where to go? Here's where you go, right? And with all of those content features, you can require acknowledgments. So you can require them to say, "Hey, here's this news information we just put out. Here's this new document. You got to complete this acknowledgement within a certain amount of days and or weeks or whatever you want to do." And then that kicks you back a report that says who's compliant and who's not compliant. And again, when I talk about this is really early stage stuff. We have a lot of ideas and concepts over the next year or two to really let people have their own homepage of first arriving that shows them, the key metrics, the PIO, what's going on in the community, the line officer, what's going on in their station specifically tied to all of your different integrations. So there's a lot of things that we'll probably show on the next webinar or two for customers, but uh, this is it's a big initiative for us to really see where we can push. Certainly leveraging AI with all of that stuff. All right, targeting content to the right people. So coming in the second quarter, tied to user accounts, is a new and dashboards is a new feature called groups where we can target content in our user accounts that you just saw by role, by station assignment, by team, like training officers, all EMS personnel, all officers on shift B or in District 2, on the police side. You can display text and images based on group. You can target documents and give document access or event access only to specific groups. And then, especially for news announcements and events, instead of using Google Sheets, you can use the user account platform to deliver content directly to the dashboards based on those groups. So you can target content by the station for most cases. For the big screen TV, that's your main target, or battalion chiefs if they're accessing on their desktop or tablet, things like that. So there'll be more information to come on this, but this is just the first phase of a complete retooling of how we deliver content directly to users. AI. So AI in the last couple of months has made some dramatic improvements. We're just beginning to explore how AI can help us help you, and certainly help us at the same time. So we're already working with AI to improve how we can deploy new dashboards quicker, how we can build them quicker, um, how we can upgrade you to 3.0, which we'll talk about in a minute. how we can convert you to 3.0 much more quickly, and then how we can use AI to support us with faster issue resolution and ongoing improvements, basically in support. How can we make your support experience significantly better? Certainly, we're a platform where we give you a bunch of tools. We're only going to be giving you more tools in the future compared to what we have right now. Um, but we're not a drag and drop, type platform where you can go in there and edit, move things around and stuff like that. You still need us to do that, mainly because we've customized your board so much and everybody's unique data. We have a scheduling platform like a lad tech. You guys have probably 50 different flavors of how you want a lad tech to display on your dashboards, and we're able to accommodate that. But it does restrict us in terms of how much control we can give you, but we want to give you more tools and we want to leverage AI to be able to do that. So that's something that we're actively exploring with AI on the back end side of things. And then AI on the front end, in terms of what you see, there's no shortage of ideas, right, at the end of the day. So how can we integrate your data smarter? How can we better sort and filter that information? So right now, information comes in from an ESO or a PS Tracks or any number of our integrations. We keep it for a short time just to display it on your dashboards where you need it. How can we retain that data longer? How can we have AI help you sort and filter that information on the desktop, tablet, and mobile to drill down the data, not just display it, but start interacting with it? How can we warehouse data for 365 days instead of 1 day and give you tools to interact with that, not just interact with, your RMS data, for example, but how can you mash that up with your scheduling data from some other platform and your asset management thing from some other platform? How can you mash all that data up to give you a very rich view of all of your information across all of your platforms at a much deeper level than just displaying it on your dashboard or in your user account? So that will dovetail into giving you like a weekly digest, or you're the chief and every morning you log in and here's your chief dashboard that shows you all of your metrics, all of your scheduling things, who's incomplete reports, let you drill down and notify those people. Lots of different ideas that we're going to be working on over the next year or two to to be a much richer platform than you see today. New agency admin guide in December and January. We launched a new agency admin guide. Certainly, as we've grown the user accounts, that's been very critical. And as we start adding more and more tools to let you manage your own content and manage your dashboards, and we revamp your agency admin portal that you access now. That's going to be revamped this year to be drastically easier to access and gain information. But in the meantime, we've launched a pretty robust agency admin guide as well as an end user guide that you can drill down. It has lots of documents there with very clear examples, with images of how to do things. You can access all of this stuff at support.firstderiving.com anytime. It's available to you, and you can share it with your internal staff. And if you have ideas of things like, hey, I wish you guys could tell me how to do this better, certainly those are things you can contact us in our support channels and we can consider adding. And the more feedback we get from agencies, that's how we've grown to 1,500 customers across basically every state but two, except for Hawaii, which I'm waiting to go to myself once we get that Hawaii client. But we're all across North America, and we've gotten there because agencies have helped us identify what new integrations they want, what new features they want, and now with AI and a bigger team, frankly, how can we get there quicker? And that's going to be a big part of where we go. So you're going to see some significant enhancements to what we did compared to even the last year or two. 3.0. So a lot of you, probably about two-thirds of our customers are on our 2.0 platform, which is basically the same platform that we inherited when we acquired these dashboards back in 2018. So that's your traditional blue background, uh, Arial font type platform that about two-thirds of our customers are still on. It was built in a kind of an older school way, not as modern looking. And over the last year, we've started to convert customers. So for a one-time, pretty reasonable conversion fee, we get you basically in an entirely new platform. And that's the platform of the future. And it's not, going to be a situation where we're going to say, hey, we're going to charge you every time, for version 4, version 5, version 6. Version 3 is really the framework that's going to help us springboard into a lot of cool features. So um, we're making some strategic design upgrades to 3.0 right now for bigger text, bolder headers, more readable content, making it easier to digest content across the boards, especially, some people have their screens 2 feet in front of them. Some people it's 3 feet up a wall. So we're trying to accommodate those options and give people a better presentation. And even later this year, we'll be going through a second phase of this to get even bolder and even more modern. So it's a cleaner, more modern experience. It's built for mobile and user accounts. You have to have 3.0 to get the mobile, especially with the user accounts. So that platform is all kind of baked together. And again, it's designed for faster decision making. If you're not on 3.0 yet, we can convert you in a pretty reasonable timeline. You can connect with your client success manager. If you're not sure who that is, there'll be information in the chat on who to reach out to. Basically, you would just submit a support ticket. Hey, I'm interested in 3.0, and then we'll get back to you with all that information. But this is our platform in the future. That being said, if you're on 2.0, you don't want to switch, you don't have to right now. Every integration we have is including new integrations are baked for both platforms automatically. So, we're still serving you the same content and giving you the same feature set when it comes to the dashboards. It's when you start getting into the future of user accounts and mobile where there's going to be variations between 2.0 and 3.0. And it's going to be very beneficial for you to, consider upgrading to 3.0, over the next year or two. Upcoming alarm enhancements, what you see on the left-hand side is kind of a new style that we're going to be rolling out for alarms in the next couple months. There will probably be some other variations that are even bigger and bolder that come in the next few months. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be announcing those more formally to let people switch if they want to switch. There's also some additional features that will allow rotation of calls. So if you have multiple active incidents, they'll rotate automatically. We'll also be able to support multiple alarm sources simultaneously. So some people have use cases where they're getting data from their own CAD, they're getting data from their neighboring county's CAD for their specific dispatches. Some of that, is handled pretty well through Active 911, but otherwise, we'll be able to support, hey, I want to use Active 911 for my home county, but here's the XML feed from Central Square CAD or some other CAD for the county next door to me that's going to trigger based on my units being dispatched and so forth. And certainly there's some law enforcement use cases where they've got different types of alerts that you want to show separate from alarms. So cleaner layout, less clutter, more options is what's coming to alarm enhancements. Law enforcement expansion. So we just did a law enforcement survey yesterday to all of our law enforcement customers. That's a pretty fast growing area. And, really we have our fire departments to thank for that. A lot of it is, hey, the police chief walked in the firehouse and saw a big screen on the wall and like, what the heck is that? And that's how we've gotten most of our law enforcement customers to date. We have a lot of fire and police departments in the same jurisdiction who are sharing information amongst themselves across their dashboards in very unique ways. So that's not something you can just do with your police departments, but you can also do that with your neighboring agencies, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But 2026 and beyond is also going to be about extending the feature set for law enforcement, more integrations that are law enforcement specific. Certainly, when it comes to the fire side of things, we have pretty much many of the bigger players and even many of the smaller and mid-tier applications and platforms that we integrate. But law enforcement is a big area of growth for us. So if you are in law enforcement, if you didn't get the survey, please reach out to us and we will get you that information. And otherwise, hopefully you got it and you'll participate. And among those departments we're meeting in Dallas next week is a bunch of police departments. So we're really looking forward to how we grow in law enforcement and how that ties into the neighboring fire departments and how those agencies can share data when it makes sense. And certainly mobile access on the law enforcement side is even more critical because everybody's out on the street working and how can we give you more access to information since they may not be in your facility all the time. Oh, we just talked about this, so I think we're good with that one. Kansas City, I just wanted to share kind of a cool thing that Kansas City, Missouri Fire does. They do on a private YouTube channel, they load up a video that basically is a 3-minute weekly department update that talks about, everything that an internal employee would want to know. So it's not like public information about incidents, although they do highlight, attaboys and kudos for certain incidents and things like that. But here's what's going on with new SOPs. Here's what's going on with promotions, those sorts of things. So they record up a 3-minute video every week. They schedule it in our platform. They just load up the URL in our video platform, and that does work for 2.0 and 3.0, along with messages. But they just load it up. They schedule it to go up every shift and show up for two times a day. So every shift sees it. The shift knows it's going to go off at noon and 3 p.m. or whatever the scheduled base is. And then, you can extend this and put an announcement in the user account area to say, here's our weekly announcement, and you can require that to be acknowledged as well. So again, lots of ways to approach it, but I thought this was a good example of a department really, thinking outside the box of how can I really disseminate information to my people in a diverse way, and certainly video is a big piece of that. When COVID hit, Prince George's County, Maryland did the same thing. The chief did a little 5-minute rally the troops type video. It was played at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. every day for all 4 shifts. It was announced via their dispatch channel to tune into the first arriving dashboards to view that content. An alert went out on Active 911 with the same information. So you can get really creative in terms of how you get content to your folks through our platform. Support, better support, quicker support. So we've added a number of people to our support team over the last 6 months. We're trying to uh, do an initial reply to your tickets within a few hours. Certainly different tickets take any number of duration to resolve, depending if you're adding a new integration or drastically changing your layout or there's a bug or something like that. But these are tips that come directly from our support team that I asked them to provide of what can we do, what can you do to help us resolve your issue quicker. So certainly including which dashboards it is, what content block or integration is specifically affected. Anytime you can send us a screenshot of what is happening on your boards, that is extremely helpful to us to troubleshoot things. Letting us know when the issue started and telling us hey, here's what I expected to see. I'm not seeing it. Please help us resolve this issue. So these are tips for better support. When you go into the agency admin guide, the link that we'll share with you, that's in our support.firstarriving.com website, there are 2 documents that specifically speak to support. How can we support you better? Here are the top 10 types of tickets and how we help you resolve them that I encourage anybody who's an agency admin to review. It really tells you the best way to contact us, when to contact us, and the best way to get the best experience from our support team. So those are all things that are in the agency admin guide. And again, my last slide here before Bill takes over, our focus next year and really beyond is like, how do we again become your communications hub to your personnel beyond just the big TV? And certainly we're going to continue to expand what we offer on that big TV also, but we're going to give you a whole slew of new tools and features to help you expand how you communicate to your folks and fill those communications gaps, fill the way especially the younger personnel are on their phones all the time, distracted. How do you make sure your message gets through as quickly as possible, as thoroughly as possible? That's our big focus going forward, is how's First Arriving the place your agency manages information and communicates it internally. So with that, I will introduce Bill. Bill McAuliffe is a Coast Guard veteran and a 22-year veteran of law enforcement who came to us to lead our Director of Professional Services and Customer Success. Professional services is the implementation team who creates the boards initially. And client success is basically your account manager once you launch your platform, who is your day-to-day point of contact for your overall account issues and things like that. So I will let Bill take it over from here.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave. Welcome, everybody. So yeah, let's talk about how you get more value from what you already have. Um, we all get saturated with information, and oftentimes it's stored in various places, which just adds to the challenge of information management and sharing, right? So we also can't forget that not all information is shared, best shared in the same way, right? You got to know your audience and you know the mechanisms for best sharing that information. And you've all experienced the dashboards, um, and they allow you to share everything from statistics to trends to critical operational information in the way that your audience will best consume and understand it, right? You know your audience best and what best way to transmit that information. Options in your dashboards range from text to photos to um, graphs, videos like Dave talked about, calendars, and then banners for quick notices or alerts. Um, you can share information with your allied agencies as well. So long as they're a first arriving partner, we can share information across jurisdictions and even disciplines like Dave talked about with law enforcement and fire. So that improves our interoperability and response to those multi-jurisdictional events when they occur. So information sharing is super important when we start thinking about how we leverage what you've already invested your time and effort into. We all have inboxes that are overflowing with megabytes of information, and it's really difficult to consume all the information. Like they've talked about, people miss memos and emails and all that kind of stuff because we have such a saturation of information. And email is not the best way for distributing the things that you know are the most important to the safety of your people and smooth operations of your organization. Our dashboards, along with the individual user accounts that Dave talked about, take information sharing to the next level and puts the most important information right out front and center to where your people need it and won't be missing it. And like Dave said, they can actually be held accountable to acknowledging that they not only received it, but that they actually read it. So one of the best ways to improve performance is to actually showcase the top performers as examples of excellence within your organization. So your dashboards can be used for everything from sharing turnout times across your organization or to individual achievements such as certifications, promotions, or anniversaries. So one of the challenges for you to take away from today is to think about what critical information is getting lost in your current method. So dashboards aren't just for the big screen anymore, as Dave talked about earlier. Individual user accounts help keep your entire team informed, whether they are in the firehouse, out patrolling the community, staged in the field, or even off duty. With individual user accounts, they have access to the critical information on their wireless device, so they can stay informed 24/7, 365. Establishing command and administration level type dashboards also helps you keep your leadership team really connected and informed on the target that you want them to achieve, whether it be monthly, weekly, quarterly, or annual goals, without oversharing to your frontline staff that maybe doesn't need to be, again, overly saturated with certain information. So you can carve out who you want to share that with and set up dashboards for particular types of folks within your organization in that tiered level. You can keep your special teams and other role-based people with role-based responsibilities on task and up to date with personalization options using those individual user accounts. And the upcoming groups event or function is going to be a huge player in that, so that you can call out particular groups, whether it be particular ratings or certifications or special units. You can carve those out and have those groups. So that, again, you're targeting that information to the people that really need to see it and putting it front and center. So how would your organization benefit from having that 24/7 access to your most critical information that you're, as a leader in your organization, putting out front for your folks? That's the question that I want you to kind of ponder as you sit through this today. So displaying information is one thing, but engaging with it is something completely different. And confirm information is being read, not just received, as I talked about a little bit ago. It's one thing to have an inbox, but how much of that stuff is getting missed? How much is going to spam? How much is getting filtered out or just overlooked? So your document library and news and announcements section allows leaders to distribute essential information at the click of a mouse, and when deemed appropriate, you can actually require each member to acknowledge the most important items that you're putting out there. This reduces the missed emails and memos of old, right? And keeps you and your people informed, and it helps you hold your folks accountable to that information that you're putting out. So transferring information from shift to shift hasn't ever been easier than it is now with our dashboards. Your dashboards allow you to maintain consistency across shifts by making this sure the same message is being delayed or delivered rather, regardless of time of the day or the day of the week, right? Because we have those rotating schedules, and we don't want to be playing the game of telephone where we pass it along and then other people distill the information. You get to control that information and put out the message that you want, and it's consistent across all those different areas of your department. When it comes to certifications, trainings, and SOP compliance, your dashboards and the events module gives your team one place to go for staying current on, again, all that critical information that you're putting out there, that you're prioritizing over all that other noise that ends up in inboxes and whiteboards and all those other places. So information shared in the right way ensures that your entire team is staying informed regardless of their assignment. Remember, a well-informed organization has alignment across all levels. So what are some common blind spots? More and more customers are presenting information from other stations and departments on their dashboards. Things like staffing and availability of particular equipment allows allied organizations that you work with to vastly improve that interoperability and responsiveness to those multi-jurisdictional events and alarms. So user accounts are not just for administrators. Customers across the nation are seeing the value of information sharing across user groups. When properly personalized, you can keep your team informed so they remain aware of operational tempo and events that may impact them when they next report for duty. So like I said before, the 24/7, 365, people can see what's going on in the organization, to kind of keep tabs on what's happening and ramp up. So when they come back to work, they're not coming in absolutely cold. They can actually be aware of what's going on and what the operational tempo of your organization is when they walk in the door for that next shift. Expanded integration feeds, like maybe traffic cams or training resources, can greatly enhance the value of your dashboards and those user accounts. Dave had some great examples up on the screen there where agencies are really leveraging our platforms along with those videos, awareness of what's going on within your organization or the community that you serve by having traffic cams. You can see what's happening going on outside the department. So when you step out the door to go to a call for service, you're aware of what the atmosphere you're stepping into. With enhanced analytics, you can now see what members of your team are engaging with and who is not with that information, allowing you to ensure that all of your personnel are staying informed, right? We don't want to be just sending stuff to an inbox hoping that they're going to read it, right? We can actually hold them accountable and bring their attention to the most critical information that we know that they need to have. So we want to help you unlock all the value that you can in your current subscriptions. So we want to ensure that you're getting the most out of our platform and those third-party integrations that you likely pay for and rely on every day. So we invite you to schedule a strategic platform review with us to be sure that you're getting the most out of your first arriving subscription. So if sharing information and accountability are important to you, let's talk about how individual user accounts will expand your user access to the critical information that you're putting out and that you have to share. As talked about earlier, we have over 130 integrations, and there may be a few that you want to consider adding to your dashboard since you initially launched. Maybe there's some out, like we've been, as Dave highlighted a few, over the last few months, we've had some additional integrations come on board. So maybe it's time to look at how those might be leveraged for your use and added to your platforms and increase your information sharing. So adding integrations allows you to disseminate the information from those platforms with ease. So we're happy to explore how you can enhance your information sharing and reduce manual processes by adding an integration to your account. We've been busy developing new and improved screen configurations, as Dave highlighted earlier, and we would love to help you optimize the presentation of your information. So doing a review and looking at what you have, how you want to change it, what is best for your audience. Maybe your audience has changed a little bit since you actually launched your dashboards initially. So doing a full scale review of those with our folks, we'd love to do that for you just to make sure that you're getting the most out of your most value out of your subscription. Again, not just what you're subscribing for us for, but those third-party integrations that you're also likely paying for. So let's connect and review your current setup and see how we can optimize things for you. So I know we shared a lot of information with you today. In case you want to revisit any portion, like Stephanie said at the beginning, this is going to be shared with you. Feel free to share this with other members of your team that maybe didn't make today's presentation. Or if you have an allied agency that you're thinking, this might be a good opportunity for them to explore first arriving, and maybe they have some information that once we both partner with first arriving, that we can share information across those jurisdictions or organizations. We sincerely appreciate referrals, and partners like you are a big part of our growth. So we'll be providing access to those recordings, so feel free to share that with those people that you feel appropriate, whether it be inside your organization or outside your organization. If you have any questions about your dashboards, your account, or there's anything that we can do to maximize information sharing, don't hesitate to reach out to our help center. That's on our website, and we've provided the links. You'll see that all over the place today, so that you can just click on those and save those for future reference. And our website, you can also access like that integrations page where you can go through all the different integrations. You can actually sort by your industry or other types of filtering, so you don't have to go through all 130. You can see which ones actually pertain to you. If you have a feature that you would like to see, but we don't yet provide, we would love to hear from you. Input from our customers is a big part of our growth. And again, you can submit those to our support team, and they will make sure that those get routed to the right people, most likely Dave's team, because he's the product guy. But again, the product and the services, any feedback we get from you guys is greatly appreciated. And again, that's how we grow and improve and provide you better service, better information sharing network. All of you have a designated customer success manager available, and they are there to help you ensure that you are getting the most of your first arriving services. Michael, Kathy, and Curtis are only an email or a phone call away. If you're not sure who your CSM is right now, you can actually reach out either to our support team. You can drop in the chat. We can make sure that we reach out to you and get that information to you so you guys can connect with your CSM and discuss anything that you want to discuss about your first arriving account or dashboards. And we know that you have a busy schedule, and we appreciate you guys carving out time to join us today. So I'm gonna wrap this up and hand this back to Stephanie, and let's see if we can take some of those questions and give you guys some answers to some of the questions that I've seen piling into the chat there. So Steph, back to you.
Thanks, Bill. Definitely a lot of questions that have come through. A couple of common trends that we're seeing. One, if you have very specific questions about a single integration or something that you want to change on your dashboard, we'd highly recommend to either email our support team or go ahead and jump on the support website. They can definitely answer that for you, especially if it's very specific. Bill, a couple of global questions that we saw come through. Can you just talk at the highest level about if folks are interested in user accounts, kind of what that process looks like, pricing? I know it's specific to each agency. And then can you also discuss the process on upgrading to 3.0?
Sure. Yeah, it all kind of goes together. So like Dave said, if you're on 2.0, the individual user accounts is a 3.0 foundational offering. So we would have to convert you from your 2.0 dashboard to a 3.0 dashboard. Your CSM will walk you through that process. We'll do an assessment to show where there are maybe some gaps. You might have some customized work that we did back when we first built your dashboards that don't immediately transfer and translate into the 3.0. But again, we do that assessment, let you know what it takes to get that done, have our engineering team look at it if it's necessary. So we do that initial assessment, and then it usually takes a few months. Again, depends on how many integrations you have, what type of integrations. There's a lot of different variables, but your customer success manager can really paint that picture for you based on exactly what you have. And maybe what you have isn't exactly what you want going forward. Maybe you want to change some things. So it's a great place to do that too during that transition from 2.0 to 3.0. You can actually do some enhancements like, well, this is really good, but we could make it better. Or, this is information that's really not important to us anymore. It used to be important, but it's really not anymore. So it's kind of a spring cleaning opportunity as well. And then the individual user accounts, those are, well, initially when you set up, we will provide you a couple for your administrative users. So those are just like go with the 3.0 conversion so that you have your administrators that are running your dashboards have that access. We don't charge you for that. But if you want to add more members to your department that have those individual user accounts so they can connect it on their mobile device, those are $30 per subscriber. And again, if you have a large number, talk to your customer success manager. There's all sorts of different pricing plans we can put you on. So we want to look at big picture, but again, that conversion is number one, and then the individual user accounts kind of dovetails into that and gives you the full boat of features that Dave discussed earlier.
Thanks, Bill, for that response. I'm just thinking if there's any other global questions here that makes sense. Sorry, let me just scroll through. Okay. I'm not seeing any other global questions that make sense to answer here across the board. But again, if you've got something specific to your organization, to your integration, reaching out to support, like Bill mentioned, if you're not sure who your CS rep is and you want to go through kind of a review of your account, also reach out to support to be able to identify your CS rep.
Yeah, I would say any really questions that are specific to you and your account, your dashboards, I would say get with your customer success manager and let them walk through that with you, because you may have an integration that your partner agency has, but you might have it configured a little differently. You might be parsing information differently. There's a lot of different technological variables in the background that you're not going to see just looking at it on the dashboard. So having that specific conversation with somebody that can really dig into your account and see how you're set up to give you those specific responses would be key. It's hard to generalize because there's so many different variations when you start talking about how things are set up and filtered and parsed and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. We do have a couple of questions that folks have asked that we will actually reach out to you with those responses from the support team. So we're not leaving you hanging. We'll get back to you to those specific questions. Again, we really thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. We know there's a lot of great stuff happening with the dashboards, and we want to make sure we connect with you and get all of those items taken care of. Thanks again so much for joining us today. We really look forward to continuing to support your team. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe.
All right, the webinar is over.
Ta-da.